Funds on the Ethereum chain are buying up stocks crazily, and RWA lockup hits a new high. US employment is negative, Bitcoin shouts. I will rush to 110,000 first. The Federal Reserve must keep up. Bitcoin can't hold 100,000 and wants to fly to 500,000. Is this just a pie in the sky or a prophecy? 40% of the population is playing with cryptocurrencies. TRON conquers Turkey with real money. Accelerating encryption compliance, Ripple said. Don't stop me, I want to join the system. Blockchain settlement is so attractive that the European Central Bank spent 1.6 billion euros.
Thursday, July 3rd, BitcoinTV English channel. Where is the coin chain? I am Michael. Let's start with the 24-hour data headlines in the currency circle. In June, the US small non-agricultural ADP employment data was actually negative, with 33,000 fewer new jobs, the largest drop since March 2023. This makes everyone more certain that the Federal Reserve may cut interest rates in July, and the probability of a rate cut has increased from more than 20% to 26.7%. The market reacted super quickly, and the Bitcoin spot ETF poured in $407.7 million that day, pushing Bitcoin to $109,700 in the short term, although it has now fallen back to around $108,800. It is still on a fluctuating upward track, although most investors still think that interest rates will not necessarily move in the short term and remain at 4.25% to 4.50%. The voice of interest rate cuts is getting louder and louder, which also makes Bitcoin more attractive. After all, it is an asset that is resistant to pressure and has high elasticity in macro fluctuations. Recently, the performance of US technology stocks has not been good, and funds have begun to flow into Bitcoin ETFs and gold ETFs, reflecting that the market is revaluing the economic slowdown and the actions of the Federal Reserve. If the expectation of easing continues to heat up, Bitcoin may have a chance to hit the $110,000 mark in the short term. Data shows that RWA, that is the tokenization of real assets, is now in full swing. With a total locked amount of TVL, it has soared to $12.834 billion, up 3.2% in a single month, setting a record high. Among them, BlackRock's Boodle project is the most powerful, locking up $2.832 billion, accounting for 22% of the entire market. It mainly engages in the tokenization of US bonds and cash, and is simply a bridge for institutions to enter DeFi. Ethena USDTB is ranked behind, with $1.462 billion locked. Ondo Finance is also very strong, ranking third with $1.393 billion. To put it bluntly, now in the RWA field, it is no longer just the players on the chain who are playing. Traditional financial giants like BlackRock and Franklin, together with the native projects on the chain, have pushed RWA onto the chain. It is no longer just a concept, but has begun to make real money. When compliance is completed and tokenized funds become popular, RWA may be the hottest chicken in the DeFi circle. In June, the Ethereum chain was extremely hot. By June 30th, the ETH held by those long-term holders who refused to sell had reached 22.7465 million, a record high, a sharp increase of nearly 36% from the beginning of the month, and an increase of 6.0184 million in 1 month, setting a new record for the largest monthly increase in history. The average purchase price of these large holders was $2,114.70, and now there is a floating profit of 21.29% on the books, most of which are institutions and ETFs, or local tycoon players. At the same time, Ethereum's liquidity pledge continued to climb, from 34.5461 million to 35.5644 million, a monthly increase of 2.83%. Simply put, the crazy buying of large investors and the surge in pledges indicate that institutions are still quietly laying out. Although the price of Ethereum has not yet broken through the previous high, The data on the chain has been quietly accumulating power. If the price suddenly catches up one day, it will be the rhythm of rocket takeoff. Please like and follow us to sort out the latest developments in the currency circle, chain circle, and mining circle within 24 hours. Click the small bell to join the channel and become a member. You can receive the Member Wealth password from Monday to Friday. In the first half of this year, Trump returned to the White House and gave Bitcoin a shot in the arm, soaring to $100,000. As a result, the United States imposed tariffs and the price of the currency immediately dropped to $75,000. Just when I wanted to take a breath, the conflict between Israel and Iran intensified, making the market more chaotic. Standard Chartered Bank recently released its latest report, which pushed up the long-term and short-term prospects of Bitcoin again, estimating that Bitcoin will reach 135,000 in the third quarter of 2025 and try 200,000 by the end of the year, and even $500,000 in 2028.
A report by Standard Chartered Bank pointed out that spot ETFs have become a black hole for Bitcoin. Monthly net inflows of ETFs explain 80% of the increase. Since the U.S. approved spot ETFs, nearly 100,000 Bitcoins have flowed in, bringing the largest liquidity in history and reducing volatility. Data shows that funds and prices have risen almost simultaneously. In the 12 months after the past three halvings, Bitcoin rose by 7,000%, 291%, and 541% respectively, but only rose by 43% in 2024. The impact of supply shocks has weakened, and the core of pricing has now shifted to institutional funds, global liquidity, and the regulatory environment.
Why isn't the price at 150 or 200K?
I think we're going through a rotation right now where lots of non-economically interested parties are rotating out of the asset, and then a new cohort of investors are entering. A lot of Bitcoin was, for whatever reason, left in the hands of governments, in the hands of lawyers, in the hands of bankruptcy trustees.
Standard Chartered Bank can shout that Bitcoin can reach $500,000 in the future. Their logic is that Bitcoin has gradually changed from a hype paradise to an asset that institutions seriously price. The next market will no longer rely solely on the old script of halving in 4 years, but will be more affected by large funds, global market trends, and regulatory policies. For us investors, the advantage is that the market is more stable and the entry and exit threshold is lower, but the disadvantage is that there may not be so many opportunities for short-term surges and plunges. Simply put, Bitcoin is now more like a regular army in the financial circle. If you want to make money, you have to look at the overall situation and no longer just follow the trend. In contrast, although Matt Hogan, Chief Investment Officer of Bitwise, also maintains a target price of $200,000 for Bitcoin in 2025, his attitude is obviously more cautious. He believes that the current macro environment is still full of uncertainty, such as geopolitical conflicts, interest rate policies, global liquidity, and other factors, which are all slowing down the pace of the bull market. Although funds tend to flow to hardcore value assets, Bitcoin has taken some advantages, but whether it can really reach $500,000 in the next few years depends on the right time, place, and people. Web3 is a trend that has spread all over the world, and Turkey is particularly strong. Now it is the fourth largest crypto trading market in the world, only behind the United States, India, and the United Kingdom. In terms of population and economy, Turkey is not the biggest, but it is quite bold in the matter of cryptocurrency speculation. Almost 40% of people have invested in cryptocurrencies, of which 64% are optimistic about future growth, and 73% think it will be very popular within 5 years. This year's Istanbul Blockchain Week is even more anticipated, and TRON has become a gold sponsor, which can be regarded as a strong presence.
Recently, TRON appeared at Istanbul Blockchain Week as a gold sponsor. IBW 2025, providing solid support for this event. Compared with other sponsors and partners, TRON has a deeper layout in the Turkish market. As early as 2023, TRON attended Binance Blockchain Week Istanbul as a diamond sponsor. In 2024, it reached a strategic cooperation with the Turkish exchange BitC, and the platform has successively launched TRX, BTT, Just, Sun and other TRON ecological tokens.
At present, TRON has more than 315 million user accounts worldwide, with a locked-up scale of $22 billion and a daily transaction volume of about 9 million transactions, ranking first in the world in the field of USDT. In Turkey, TRC20 USDT has become the national standard for crypto payments. Since the crisis and epidemic in 2018, the demand for stablecoins has skyrocketed. TRON and PundiX have connected TRX and USDT to the XPOS terminal, and user activity has increased by 47%. Now, whether it is consumption or remittance, TRC20 USDT has become the first choice. In this Istanbul Blockchain Week, TRON not only sponsored money but also brought popularity. Don't forget that during the 2023 Turkey-Syria earthquake, Justin Sun donated 1 million liras on behalf of TRON and also led Binance, Tether and Avalanche to help with the rescue, which warmed the distance between Web3 and the Turkish people. There is no doubt that Turkey is becoming more and more important in the Web3 world, and Brother Sun's vision is really amazing.
Ripple applies for XRP banking license high till takeoff. If we don't want to look at the US anymore, on-chain settlement may become the euro's trump card.
In the current cryptocurrency industry, licenses have become a battleground. Anchorage Digital is firmly in the top spot and is currently the only digital currency company in the United States that has obtained a federal bank license. Although Ripple's market value is not as large as Anchorage and Circle, it has been suing the US SEC in the past 2 years and has made itself quite famous in the circle.
I think the stablecoin market has really surprised people in some ways in terms of solving a real need. And I think it only makes sense for there to be regulatory clarity around that. I think that's good for the whole industry.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Ripple has submitted a OCC apply for a national banking license. If approved, its stablecoin Lust will be officially regulated. The company also applies for a Federal Reserve master account through its subsidiary Standard Custody and Trust Company. Once successful, Ripple can directly hold Lust reserves at the Federal Reserve, enabling round-the-clock issuance and redemption, and improving flexibility in financial service layout.
As soon as this news broke out, XRP was like a chicken blood. It's all because of the Biden administration's previous attempt to cut off the crypto circle and the financial system. Ripple's application for a banking license is also seen as a huge signal, which means that crypto companies are desperately trying to comply with regulations and want to get into the mainstream financial circle. In addition, with the increasingly clear supervision, everyone is optimistic that the crypto market will continue to be prosperous in the future. Now, central banks around the world are studying blockchain settlement, wanting to run fast but not letting money fly around. For example, the Bank of England teamed up with the Bank for International Settlements in 2023 to test large-scale interbank transactions using blockchain, which resulted in fast speed and low cost.
In the dual-track plan, Pontes focuses on short-term breakthroughs and aims to connect the blockchain platform with the Eurozone's Target system. Target is an important system for payment and securities flow in the Eurozone. Once connected, the speed of Euro transaction settlement will be significantly improved. In addition, the Appia track focuses on long-term layout, aims to build a unified European ecosystem, and promote efficient global financial operations. It is working with all parties to study the best application of DLT technology in central bank wholesale settlement.
First, you could use the digital euro like you use cash today, and you could do it throughout the entire euro area. Second, a digital euro would strengthen our overall payment system here in Europe. All major card companies and online payment providers are located outside the euro area. A digital euro would be a European alternative.
This shows that everyone is really interested in blockchain settlement. However, although a lot of central banks around the world are studying this thing, this technology is not yet mature enough to be used with eyes closed in the central bank settlement circle, and it is not uncommon for some problems to occur during the pilot process. Having said that, the European Central Bank's bold operation may really open a new path for other central banks around the world, allowing everyone to avoid pitfalls and earn more face.
According to monitoring by the Data Nerd in the past 9 hours, Wales withdrew a total of 2,761 bitcoins from centralized exchanges, of which 1,666 were from Coinbase, 874 from Binance, and 221 from Bitstamp. According to CNBC, the United States has lifted its export restrictions on chip design software to China. Synopsys and Cadence both confirmed this and said they would resume services to Chinese customers. U.S. Vice President Vance, the Big Beautiful Act, gives the president the resources and power he needs to reverse the out-of-control border situation during the Biden era, and it must pass. In the past year, stablecoin issuers have generated nearly $10 billion in revenue. Tether ranked first with $6.56 billion in revenue. Circle earned $1.89 billion. Sky Protocol and Athena earned $384 million and $332 million respectively. The court ruled that Celsius can continue to sue Tether for $4.3 billion. Celsius claimed that Tether liquidated 40,000 BTC without warning in 2022, violating the contract margin call period. Tether denied the accusation, saying that it had obtained verbal consent, but the judge believed that the verbal agreement was insufficient.
Okay, the above is the main content of today's program. Our channel focuses on valuable news in the currency circle, chain circle, and mining circle. There are news information and in-depth special reports. If you think our channel is valuable, you are welcome to forward and follow it. You can also become our member and receive the member wealth code from Monday to Friday. Let us become rich together and add a zero to our assets in the bull market. See you tomorrow.